Hey, yo, what drink you drinking?
I have. Oh, what is it? So my good friend is the beer buyer at the store I work at, and he gets
Okay.
a bunch of like free samples from reps who are trying to sell us their beer. So when he comes over, he just gives me a bunch of random stuff. So let's see what this is.
Oh, you don't even know?
I don't even know. I just grabbed it out of the fridge with no clue. From Great Divide, the Fast Pack IPA. Oh, that's why I don't like it that much. It's one of those low calorie, low ABV IPAs.
Oh,
It's only
okay.
4%. It's kind of
Only four. Wow. Okay.
watery, hoppy. It's for people who want to be healthy but like hoppy stuff. Which
That
if you're
just sounds
gonna
like
drink an
diarrhea.
IPA, drink an IPA. Like I
Yeah,
don't
exactly. I was thinking the exact same
know.
thing.
Yeah,
I've not had an IPA in such a long time. I should
uh,
change that.
I've gotten
Oh
like
wait. Oh wait. No. I remember why I haven't had an IPA because when I was playing early Witcher, I was
mm,
like, beers just I don't know, they're just not doing it for me. Then I started pseudo drinking wine.
oh god.
Pseudo quote unquote pseudo wine.
Right. Yeah, that's another pod we should do. Is
I was just thinking
figure
that
out how to.
when I was coming back home, I'm like,
Mhm.
because I know we talk about doing like a whiskey or a beer tasting
Yeah, yeah, that'd be super fun. Do it
episode.
live. Yeah, that'd be really fun.
I think we should do a like beginner's guide to drinking wine, do a live wine tasting, and
Dude, that'd be so
specifically make
fun.
it with your knowledge of wines.
Yeah.
So it'd be like things that like we would obviously already have the wines in front of us, but it could be where it's like a very simple, easy, like everyone could just go to like Hy-Vee or whatever and
Yeah,
like
some
pick it
like
up.
brand that's around. Yeah, totally. That'd be awesome. That's a great
Yeah.
idea. And I can just walk through like just the basics of it and everything. Yeah, that'd be super
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Yeah,
really
we
like
got
that.
got like our Lowe's Hills White.
Of course, yes. Available throughout the country, of course. God damn. Oh, that's so funny.
I
Yeah,
got
we should
two.
totally do that.
I got two bottles left in that cache that I found.
Bruh.
I'm luckily I kind of switched on my healthy food diet, so I stopped drinking those. But
Oh boy.
they're taunting me, and one of
Oh
these
man.
days I will finish them
Some
off.
monsters.
Yeah, oh,
All
some of
right.
those were not good.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's brutal. I'm surprised you're still interested in wine after that. It didn't like turn you off for the rest of your life.
You're
Oh my
not
god.
wrong.
That's so funny. Oh hey, didn't see you there.
Oh, howdy.
Oh, look at that. Look how great you look. Well, welcome back to the Flick Your Bick Podcast Network with Ben and Nick. We're back, baby. Been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Last recording was early quarantine.
Yo, did you look that up actually?
I did. I went and listened to some of it a couple nights ago.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
wild. It was such a like trip down memory lane, man. It was crazy.
Man, we were different people back then,
We
you know?
really
Just
were, man.
yeah, yeah.
The world was a different place.
Yeah. No fucking
Oh,
kidding.
that was so yeah. It was quite the trip. But
Which
also, I was like, hey, we have good conversations. Look it up.
yes, which I
Mhm.
think we need to do a quick one of those like 30-second quick update things since
Just like
it's
life
been
updates.
kinda, yeah, just like
Okay, yeah, that's not a
just hit
bad idea.
the major points,
Okay, yeah, it's a great idea. You go first because I got to think what mine are.
You need to think of the major points in your life that have happened
Yes,
since the pan.
I do. Look,
Okay.
I don't think there's a whole lot. So there's like two.
Okay, well, I think I know what one of those are. I hope one of those
Right?
are what I'm thinking
Yes.
of, but
Yes, that's the
um,
one.
honestly, not too much has. Okay, actually, yeah, not much has too much changed for me personally. However, next week I am expecting a package. A package of it'll come in a literal crate off of a semi truck. It
Oh,
is the most expensive thing that I have purchased. Uh,
oh,
I actually okay. I actually had enough money to buy it myself, but I
oh! I think I know what this
actually
is.
you think you know what it is?
I think I do. I think we talked about it.
Okay, so I actually got a loan. Oh wait, yeah, I think I did talk to you about this, but
Yeah.
yeah, I got a loan for it. I could have paid it for myself, but I thought,
Uh-huh.
well, I'll get a loan just to offset it a little bit, and I was kind of bored, which now thinking back on that sounds awful, but uh, yeah, but yeah, I kind of just said fuck it, I'm buying this thing. I bought a professional sound booth that
Yeah,
will be
that's so
coming.
great, dude.
I am super excited. Probably the next recording will be in that.
Dude.
And I'm actually kind of excited when we do another Zoom meet with the gang. 'cause
Right?
Everyone will just be in their house. I'm just gonna be just in this crazy looking place.
Locked in, looking like a fucking pro is what you're gonna be looking like. That's awesome.
Yeah, and since it'll be in that sound booth, I will be using my Neumann TLM 103 microphone, which is a I think just off
That's
the
a boss
shelf.
boy one.
It's like 1.3K microphone. It's pretty good.
That real
it
shit.
is it is a good. So yeah,
It-
not
it's
too
a
much
good-
has changed
dude.
for me.
That's so great.
You definitely have the more
Yeah, I guess.
life changing things.
So two main things have happened. One, I finished my level 2 sommelier certification, and I'm now working at a nice wine shop in town. So that's been fun. New
Mhm.
job, good stuff. And then
Mhm.
number 2, I got engaged. which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
when,
stuff.
When you
And
when you
on
fucking
top of
said
that-
like I couldn't think of anything since then. I'm like Emma better not be hearing
well,
this.
I couldn't remember if this was before or after that, but I was like, I don't think I talked about it in the other episode, so I think it had to have been after. Yeah. Um, But also, listeners to this podcast will enjoy the fact that Nick will be officiating our wedding,
Oh
which
yeah.
will be super cool.
I still okay. Can't remember. Yeah, I told you this as soon as I got back home from visiting you last summer when you told me that, or I should say asked that. I
Mhm.
immediately just Googled how do you do a good wedding ceremony for a
Mhm.
fish. I YouTubed and watched a couple videos about that.
Nice.
So yeah, I still need to do some research, but
Cool.
but yeah, I'm looking
Well, you got
forward
time
to it.
because we're going out in April. There's like 3 different places we're looking at having it. We're gonna go to all of them,
Shit.
and then like by the end of April, we'll know where it is. So that'll kind of make
Fuck.
it real because we're looking to have it next, not this coming April, the next April. So we got some time.
God damn.
Yeah.
That really put it into perspective for me. That wow,
Yeah,
that,
dude.
that hit me like a ton of bricks just now. Damn.
Yeah, me too. It isn't really real yet. I think until we start actually looking at the places, then I'm gonna be like, oh shit, this is a thing.
That's fucking wild, man.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Super crazy. I guess I moved too. We moved to a different place than we were at our time of
Mhm.
our last recording. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, welcome.
Mhm.
Now that you're all caught up, we're actually doing what I consider kind of the second part of the last podcast we did, where I played one of Nick's favorite games for the first time, and then we discussed it.
Oh
Today
yeah.
we'll be doing the reverse. Nick has played one of my favorite games of all time, and we shall be discussing it.
Mhm,
That
mhm.
game, my friends, is The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. A renowned game. I was going to look up and see all the awards it won, but there were so many, I was like, I'm not going to read them off. It won a bunch of awards, okay?
Yes. Yes.
So, there you go. And I think we're just going to go through a couple things, but first, what we have to do first, Nick.
Absolutely.
We must talk about what we've been flicking our bics to. I will actually go first on this because I have one queued up.
Yeah, go for it.
Mine's a band, classic, kind of throwback.
Mhm.
Flicking your bic. It's called Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Tedeschi.
Maybe it's the Tedeschi Trucks Band? Tedeschi Trucks, and it'll come up. They're super fun. It's a husband and wife that are the main performers, but they have like a big band behind them. They're kind of what's considered a jam band.
Yeah. Oh
If people
hell
know
yeah.
that genre.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, which is great. He either currently plays or did play with the Grateful Dead, the modern current Grateful Dead people.
Oh. Okay.
I think it was previously. I don't think he does it anymore. But yeah, they're incredible. Just really fun, chill, laid back stuff. She has an incredible voice. The music's amazing. Hoping to see them. I think they're supposed to come to Colorado sometime like Augusty, which by then, hopefully, knock on wood, vaccines and the whatnot, we can go back to concerts. Remember concerts? God,
Mhm.
a long time. But
So it's
yeah, a great
big,
jam band. Really fun.
big
they have a lot of
band
music.
style. Then.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So it's like they like sing in front of it, but there's a full freaking thing. Like if you just look at their like photos of them performing, there's a giant band behind them. They're so cool. One of Emma's friends actually got us onto them, and now we're obsessed.
Okay.
So yeah, that's mine. Tedeschi Trucks Band. I think it's that. I don't think it's the. I think it's Tedeschi Trucks Band.
I will definitely have to look them up. That's
Yeah,
one
dude,
of
you'll
my
love them.
favorite
They're great.
genres. Hmm. So,
What are you flicking to, boy?
I have been kind of everywhere. I've
Good.
I recently got I don't know. I think for
Remember,
me
it doesn't have to be
personally-
music. It can be anything.
Yes, it doesn't have to be music. But I mine is specifically music, just because it's
Hell yeah.
like I said, it's all over the place. So
Word.
I feel like when I listen to music in spring, we're Midwesterners, so like when winter
Yes.
ends and spring starts, like it's
It's a big
like
deal. It's a big.
it is a whole new world. One small mermaid once said. Wait, no,
Wait.
that's not
No,
right.
yeah,
No!
that's Aladdin, bro.
That's Aladdin. Whoops. I don't know why. I was thinking of God.
Part of
You
your
know,
world.
Yes, part. That's what I was
Yes.
thinking of. Fuck.
It's a classic mistake.
But I feel like whenever spring hits, I start going kind of a little bit nutty with my music. It's actually
Yeah.
I actually call it nutty because I start listening to a bunch of stuff, but I mostly listen to stuff that I haven't heard in a while. So this is like the
Going
time
back
where
to some
I
old
go.
favorites.
Yeah, when I go back and like
Mm.
I dig through some old music and say, oh yeah, I remember this song, or I remember this band. I haven't listened to them in years, like literal
Nice.
decades and stuff like that. So, one of them, I started listening to ska music again.
Nice.
So that always makes me feel super happy to listen to ska music.
Classic.
Yeah, I've been listening to big band stuff as well, coincidentally enough. And I actually need your help with this.
Oh.
So, long story short, I have been looking into like background cowboy western music. Stuff with like no lyrics, just like
Right.
like film score from
like
old
Westerner,
westerns.
like Western soundtrack
like
kind of thing.
yeah, like pure like like
Nice.
1880s like western movies.
Hell yeah.
That like that kind of genre. I found a couple on YouTube, a couple names that I forget their names, but because they're kind of a little bit nutty. But yeah, I've been kind of listening to that that kind of genre of music. I know you are one of the few people in my life that like really likes westerns and like Manifest Destiny and
Yes, sir.
that theme.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any good suggestions, or like, or like a good Western movie with like a good soundtrack?
The first one that popped to my head was The Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Of course,
It's a
classic.
classic movie. And the composer for that is Ennio Morricone, who's an Italian guy.
That's exactly who the guy.
He's
I was
like the
listening
goat of that genre, basically.
Yeah,
so I would just
yeah,
go on
yeah.
Spotify and hit like Ennio Morricone like playlist or something, and
mhm.
you'll be set. That's most of that stuff. So that'll be great. Yeah, that'll set you straight. That's really fun. That sounds good. I like that.
Oh, you know, I actually just thought maybe looking into some of Quentin Tarantino's movies.
Yep.
Like,
I was actually gonna say Django. He has a bunch of that stuff in there.
yeah,
I think he also has some
yeah.
hip hop because he's Quentin. But yeah, you can definitely find some stuff from there as well.
Okay,
Great.
okay, yeah.
I like listening to just the Red Dead soundtrack because it's great.
You know, I did
Mm.
try to find the Red Dead soundtrack. I think it might be like I don't know. I might have to look it again.
don't know
I
if
couldn't
it's on
find it. I
Spotify.
don't think
It might not be. I don't know.
It might be like super hard copyright since a bunch of laws have passed.
Yeah, Rockstar is
since
pretty
then.
hardcore about their stuff too. So it might not
Yeah,
be on
yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh yeah,
I
okay.
think it might be because I think it's on one of my soundtrack playlists. I think it might be in there. But yeah, I would go Red Dead, Quentin Tarantino, Ennio Morricone. That's what I would
sweet.
do. But yeah, you'll be set.
Well,
Nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah, again, like very different genres of music.
Well, it keeps it varied, you know.
Yeah, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
like it. Okay, well, let's kind of start digging into this game. Because as anyone who has played or even heard of this game will know, there's a lot in there. There's a lot of stuff in this game. It is monstrous. Going back, I just did a little kind of quick, like played for a couple hours the other night just to kind of get back reacquainted with it, and I was just blown away by how amazing it looks. Still, it came out like early PS4 generation.
It looks gorgeous
And-
still.
Yeah, and it's incredibly good. It plays super well. It's just one of those classics that you're like, this holds up Like
Hmm.
10 years from now, this will still be enjoyable and playable, which is really cool. But what I want to do first, Nick, is talk about your history with the series. So I'll start first. So what got me into the series was actually Witcher 3, just playing that. But then I just really fell in love with the series. So I went back. I didn't play Witcher 1 because it's really old and it was just like hard to play. I was like, oh,
Sure,
this is
yeah,
brutal.
that's fair.
Witcher
That's
2,
fair.
however, was a PS3, Xbox 360 gen, and I played most of that. It was decently playable still, and it was amazing. And then I got into the books, which I've read, not all. I forget which one I stopped with, but most. And they're amazing. And then obviously the show came out last year, and that is the first book. So
Mm.
that's kind of where I'm at. Had you? I guess you had watched the show, right, Nick, before you played this game.
Yes, I absolutely watched the show first.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird my history with the Witcher franchise because I mean obviously if you are interested in video games at all you will have heard of Witcher and Geralt and all of his exploits and stuff
CD
like that.
Project Red. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Um which um yeah, of course I've heard of it. But I at that time when that started to first blow up, you'd think that I'd be super interested in it because like fantasies, I'm pretty big into it. But I don't know. I think that time I was kind of gradually kind of learning that I wasn't really a huge fan of like open world games. Strangely
Mm-hmm.
enough, so I just like I'll pass on that one. However, Geralt and Witcher 3 specifically has become so popular that they have done so much involvement with other franchises. So in my
Yeah.
Google Docs, it's one of my points was the first interaction of Geralt I actually like, interacted with personally uh with Soul Calibur 6, so that's a fighting
Right.
game, so obviously
Right.
that's he is on the cover of the game.
Yeah, baby.
So I'm like, "Oh yeah, they got the white-haired bounty hunter guy. Cool,
Mm-hmm.
cool." And I actually still play him in that game when I play him, so that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
He's a
Later
beast,
on,
right? He's like awesome in that
he
game.
I don't know he stands in the tier list, but I think last I checked, and this was a while ago, he was pretty high up in the tier list, so he's pretty good.
Nice.
Um, next, Geralt had a crossover with the Monster Hunter franchise. They had a whole like special
Right. I forgot about
side
that.
thing for him, which I was like, wow, this Soul Calibur, that's kind of crazy. Monster Hunter's even nuttier. So I'm like, okay, people like not just people in America and Europe, like people just really like Geralt and just the
Yeah.
franchise. So I'm like, okay, there's some salt, or not salt. There's something tangible here with the
Hmm.
world and the character. Um, and then surely we talked about like years ago how much you liked the
Hmm.
franchise and you getting into it. So I I would say like probably always in the back of my mind I have uh, uh a gleam of like curiosity. I think
Right.
mostly though, if I'm being completely honest, mostly because it was so popular. So I wanted to see like why was it so popular. But I
Hmm.
knew since this is one of your favorite franchises,
Right.
the time where I'd come and say, okay, I want to learn more about this, I would come to you, and come to
Yeah.
you I did.
Yes, you did, my friend. And then the other thing that really kind of sparked the game and became really popular, especially in internet circles, was just how like consumer friendly CD Projekt Red was with the game.
Oh
Like
yeah.
a bunch of the DLC was free, how they had constant updates for years and years. The DLC that was paid that they did put out was humongous, like almost completely new games, which is crazy. Uh, so they kind of garnered a lot of really goodwill because of that, and then
Hmm.
they destroyed it with Cyberpunk, but we won't
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
that.
I'm very curious to know what your opinion is on that.
Mm, I don't know a lot about it. From what I read. A lot of it was they I think they got some new studio heads between The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk time, and they were just pushing and pushing to get the game out because to
Hmm.
meet like, financial quarter deadlines and that kind of stuff, and they just
Hmm.
rushed a game out that wasn't ready, which is, it's the constant struggle between the business side of the industry and the art and the artistic side of the industry.
Hmm.
And that doesn't always go together well, um, which is really sad. I'm really hoping they can patch that game up and in a year or so it'll be what they actually wanted it to be. But yeah, that's really hard to do when you've
when it started, like,
Probably pretty much
a
locked
shit
down the
stain
most
on it.
disappointing game in history. Like you kind of got
Yeah.
that. Like
Uh-huh.
that's on around your neck now, which is really sad, considering just all
Yeah.
the great work and considering how they started out. That was the other thing. I guess now it's starting to come back to me now that I'm talking about it. So their first 3 Witcher games were all built in house. What CD Projekt Red is from Poland,
Hmm.
and the reason they did The Witcher is because the series is written by a Polish guy and is like their like Lord of the Rings. Like it's like their like most popular story. And they really helped spread the word about that like to the world. Like the sales of the books have gone up exponentially as each games comes out and whatnot. But when they started to do Cyberpunk, they were realizing the studio wasn't that big, so they're hiring a bunch of new people. They were like getting a lot of contract employees. I guess my final question for you, Nick, as far as history of the series, did you go and watch like a recap video of like the first 2 games or something like that to kind of get you where you needed to be for this game, or not?
I did. However, the problem lies that before I started playing Witcher 3, I watched all of them, and then I started playing Witcher, and then I took like a really long break, so a lot of it was like, okay, I kind of forgot everything, what I was doing, and like where everything was, but I don't know, I feel like playing Witcher 3, even knowing that there was a lot that I didn't know, I feel like I wasn't too far out of like the realm of like I have no fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of the things that they did so well with this game. They did a great job of like catching everybody else up, and even if you aren't catching all the like fun references and like histories with different characters, you can play it almost as a standalone game. Which is really impressive.
The options there to learn more.
Yeah, for sure, which is really fun. I think they did a great job of that. Cool. So from there, we'll just kind of jump into some general overall thoughts. We'll do what we did for the Final Fantasy. We'll just kind of discuss the game in general based on kind of the different categories, and then we'll start talking about some favorite moments and stuff like that. First off, we'll start with the gameplay. How did just like the moment to moment gameplay strike you?
So as I was playing this, I even believe I told you before I even started playing this was the open world genre. I kind of am not a huge fan of that type of game. So um okay, my whole reasoning of wanting to play this game in the first place was I enjoyed the Netflix Witcher so much. I thought Henry Cavill. Again, I was like, as I was watching, I was asking you a lot of questions. I think my main question was like, how well do you think Cavill not did as Geralt? And you think you were positive about his performance. So
Very much so.
yeah. So since you're my lore guy for this game, I thought, well, if I like the Netflix show a lot, like I really enjoy my time with it, then that got me curious about the game. So that being said, there were a lot of factors for me. I guess the best way I could say it would be judging it. I kind of hate using that word for it. So I knew I was up against kind of a lot of adversity. Like, one, it was a genre I didn't really like, and two, this is at the time of me playing it. I'll just kind of generalize it. This is like a 5-year-old game now, so it is.
Yeah, it came out in 2015.
Yeah, 2015,
15, 14, something like that.
So it is, by internet standards, very fucking old.
Right.
So I had to like kind of temper my expectations and my how I felt and judging about it. Like, like I think I don't really like this, but this was 5 years ago, so maybe like they probably could have done it better if they made it today. So there's a lot of is bell curve the right word I want to use for
you were judging it on a curve.
Yeah,
you
okay,
had tempered expectations for sure.
So with that being said, I did find myself really enjoying playing the game. In fact, even like prepping for the podcast, even from last night prepping for, I'm like, I kind of feel like playing Witcher 3 just randomly, just kind of like walking around and doing some shit. Like, yeah, I think the characters, like I have written down my highlights for just general highlights for the game. I think absolutely by far best part is Geralt, just bar none. He is the heart and soul of that game. There's a reason why he crossed over with so many other IPs, because he just carries a lot just by himself. I
Mhm.
fucking love the music in the game. Music is
Oh,
fantastic.
that was the next thing I want to get to.
Yeah,
Oh my
music's
god.
fantastic. Wilderness and the graphics still hold up exceptionally well.
I thought lighting specifically
Yeah,
was unbelievable in that game.
lighting was amazing. I really liked Kaer Morhen quite a bit too. Just
Yeah,
that place was
that's my favorite area.
that area was amazing to just walk around. It's not just a stage background from what I know.
Mhm.
Yeah, just those three things I really enjoyed. But really, the game is carried by Geralt's rippling back muscles with all the scars from all the
That's
monsters he killed.
dude, my boy's been through some shit.
Yes, he has. But yeah, those are kind of like basic things that I really enjoyed. I feel like I probably would have enjoyed the character interaction a little bit more if I was more invested in the lore. It's kind of the main thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the main things I don't really like about open world games is
Mhm.
character dialogue because and I think this is because I'm spoiled by my perception is spoiled by fighting games where it's like I'm for those types of games I'm like always constantly doing something. I'm always like making rapid fire decisions and thinking. So
Mhm.
it going kind of like pacing down to like a slow crawl for like conversation and that kind of thing.
Right.
That's something that really kills open world games for me is dialogue
Mhm.
stuff. Just like, why am I talking to this guy? I don't really care about you. Which I think, because of everything I just listed, to its credit, I think that actually helped me specifically for Witcher 3 because
For sure.
Geralt is kind of the exact same way. He really just
Mhm.
doesn't want to talk to
He's like,
people.
"Yeah."
So like, and that
Yep.
in that way, I kind of respected and bonded with him more. And I will be 100% honest. Some of the parts where I had to talk to someone, like I kind of was like just skipping over, like skimming through like the subtitles, and just doing that,
Mhm.
it made me like kind of rapid fire think of like what I would choose to say, and that kind of made me feel
Right.
like I was actually Geralt because I feel like
Yeah.
he would like mildly pay attention, but just like yeah, whatever, just, yeah, I'll do it. Just shut up. So in that way, I'm like, all right, I kind of dig that. It kind of like
For sure.
interesting and ironic about that. The other thing I don't really like about open world games is, funnily enough, is the traveling around. Like, I get why people love
Mhm.
the exploration. To me, nowadays, I just think there's not a huge point. Like I look at games like Assassin's Creed, where you have this sprawling
Oh.
ancient city, and there's like you're rewarded for looking around places for like collectibles. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me because I think because open world games, they inevitably have an ending. So
Mhm.
at like the meat of open world games is like one, the world, and two, like kind of the interaction and the story for the character. At least games nowadays, I would say.
Right.
So knowing that like this game is going to end, which I know is kind of a weird thing to say because all games kind of end. To that point, like
Right.
talking and collectathon things by that nature I don't really like. Again, I think I've been spoiled by fighting games. On the flip side, it's kind of weird because I really like retro like collectathons like Banjo Kazooie and stuff like that, but they're not
Right.
necessarily
Yeah.
open world. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, besides those facts, and besides like my I don't want to say like initial wanting to dislike this game, but
Mhm.
there was still an element like, all right, I got to do things that I don't really like to do. So at
Mhm.
times, I will say I did kind of slog through it, but my overall experience, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. It was a very uh I I feel like my time was well spent just like learning, and
Right.
I'm introduced to this new world, which I am slowly. The more I think about the world of Witcher, the more I really like, and the more I just want to get invested more into it.
Yeah. For sure. That like dark, like gothic fantasy
Yeah,
sort of vibe, I think
absolutely.
is just really cool and unique and not something you see a whole lot of. And to your point about like the denseness and kind of repetitiveness of open world games, I think what really makes Witcher stands out is I think they completely revolutionized like how deep and interesting and complex a side quest can be. That's one of the things that the game is really lauded
Yes.
for,
Mm-hmm.
is that there's very little just fetch quest. Hey, I need a
Mm-hmm.
5 wolf pelts. Go get me some, then I'll give you a reward. Like each like side quest has like a a story to it that develops and is actually well written and isn't obvious and is actually worth it, keeps you invested. And I think that's one of the reasons why this game is so good. It's just the writing and the attention to the side quests and all that, which is
I
not how it always is. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge, probably a huge reason why you were able to get over your general like hangups over the genre and still enjoy the game. It's just that level of attention to detail in writing when it comes to all those side quests.
I really, really appreciate in the quest log, just secondary quests. Just that alone, I freaking like main quest. I know what that does. Side quests,
Obviously.
I don't really care, like the tiny ones. But I want like Here's the thing. The main reason, another main reason why I want to play the game is to learn Geralt and like his character. I want to learn what his character was. And the secondary, like the main quest line, that's the story, which is fine. That's how Geralt reacts to the world. That's how he reacts to action.
Well, particularly Ciri.
The main stories where like the character interact or like is reacting to things. Secondary quests are them like impacting, and you really get to see their
100%.
decisions. So that's where I was like really happy that they made a separate section. Like these are really important to do.
Yeah, which is great because there are a whole bunch of other like just random Witcher contracts and other side stuff you can do, but all the secondary quests are like basically little stories of their own. Which some of them start out small and then end up like, oh, I'm deciding like who rules this kingdom and whether this person dies and stuff. Just like, oh cow, okay, this is a big deal all of a sudden.
Yeah.
To that point, I wanted to ask you about some of your favorite moments, characters. And then some of the choices that you made in the game. Any particular quests, like storylines or characters, really stand out to you that you greatly enjoy? You said you really liked Kaer Morhen, which I agree with. Just gorgeous as far as an environment and everything. Anything else that really popped off for you?
To the point of Kaer Morhen, like when you go back and you're at the like you're not exactly you go back to it's the first time you go back to Kaer Morhen, I suppose.
Yeah.
The moment where I think you're what was his name? It wasn't Lambert, the other Witcher there.
Eskel.
Yeah, Eskel. Yeah. You're doing that first mission with Eskel. I think he's hunting a griffin or something like that. Just because you have to like actually go out of your way to go in the wilderness. Dude, when I like the Kaer Morhen theme just started playing, you hear the wind whistling through the wind or the grass, and like I pan up and it's like a perfect blue sky with like clouds, and then you just see the mountains. The fucking mountains, and made me really want to go back to like Colorado to go like
dude.
I'm like, oh dude, I want to go see. I became Bilbo Baggins. I want to see mountains, Gandalf. I want to see mountains, Gandalf. Mountains.
Exactly.
I immediately felt
That's
that.
So true.
Absolutely, my favorite moment of the game. And this is, I believe it's a side quest. Is when Geralt has to be in a play. I absolutely fucking love that. For a lot of reasons. One of them being like because both you and I have a history.
We enjoy the theater.
We're thespians, as one might say.
Indeed, good sir.
But I love when genres or characters have to do the complete opposite of what they are just like comfortable with, or just like
exactly.
Yeah, Geralt is not someone that would be on stage to be a performer. So just seeing that like awkwardness, how much he didn't want to be there, but he has to do it. That made it so enjoyable for me. I was laughing my ass off.
In that scene, did you pick like the right? Because you can actually read your lines beforehand and go through it. And most of them rhyme, so it kind of helps you. Were you able to like pick the right ones, or did you like fuck it up on purpose so he looked like an idiot?
I can't remember if I did it correctly or not, because that was like one of the few times where like there was like a timer for your decisions.
Yeah, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like that. I don't remember. I think because you could either make the play a comedy or tragedy. I picked comedy just because it clashes with Geralt. Yes. And I remember like the options for like the actors you can choose. You
can pick the guy who's amazing but drunk all the time, and like the guy who's like kind of boring. Yeah,
that was another thing I wanted to talk to you later on about, like all the different choices in this game.
Okay.
Well, I picked the really good guy, but he was drunk, and
nice.
and I forget her name, but I don't think that's the right word.
The troop leader lady.
I picked the Penelope. Is that her name?
Priscilla. Yeah,
Priscilla. I picked Priscilla.
I love her.
Mhm,
She's so cool.
So it was an interesting play. But yeah, that was absolutely bar none my favorite moment in the entire game.
That's such a good. I'm glad you picked that one. That's one of my absolute favorites too. That's so great. Yeah, I love that. Then my other favorites are before like the ending when you're just going up like tying loose ends up with Ciri.
hmm
I love that whole quest line too because I just love the relationship. And then also when they go back to Velen to take out not Eridan, his second in command guy
yeah.
at like the festival or whatever. And then you go up to the top of the mountain and you
Mhm.
fight him and she fights the crones like that. That quest is so wild.
Can you make it where Geralt fights the crones instead?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I was curious about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say one big gripe for me about Witcher was you spend all this time okay, so you start the game off with like looking for Ciri. Okay, that's a good enough reason to
And Yen, yeah.
and Yen to go off
Mhm.
and that is a good starting off point for our hero to go do something.
Yeah. Mhm.
By the time you got to Skelegrad, I think that's how you pronounce it. I was like, I still haven't
Mhm.
found Ciri. At that point, I was getting,
Mhm.
I guess you could call it miv because I was like, all right, I just want to find Ciri and like progress through it. And
Yeah.
that's one gripe I had with the game. Like I was kind of getting a little bit bored of still trying to find Ciri, but
Mhm.
just a gripe about one point.
Yeah, and I think that's one of my weaker things is you don't get as much time with Ciri because the game kind of really speeds up once you find her. Which that's something I agree with. But when you play the DLCs, you spend a lot of time with her.
Sure,
That's part of it. But yeah, but it's either I guess I forgot. My favorite part is probably the Battle of Kaer Morhen.
Yeah.
That's so wild when you get all your homies together to fight, and then it goes well, but it doesn't, and it's that whole. I thought that was just like so epic.
How many people? What is the least amount of people you can have for that fight?
The other Witchers, Yen and Triss.
Oh, that's it. Wow.
I think you can if you just like mainlined it. I think that's all you. I think you can. That's it. Yeah.
Huh.
So like Lambert, Eskel, Vesemir, Yen, Triss, Geralt. Yeah.
Okay. Damn.
But you can have a bunch.
Damn. I will say I don't think. I mean, I guess we're just spoiling the game anyways.
Yeah. Whatever.
I 100% kind of knew in my gut that fuck, you just said his name. Old man was gonna die.
Vesemir.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed his character. He was cool. I dug
He's the
him.
best. I love Vesemir.
Like,
I'm really curious how they're going to handle him in the show
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that. Huh.
because he should be in season 2 if they're following the books and everything.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That'll be very interesting. That'll be very
yeah,
interesting.
because it's a very important character for Geralt and then also for Ciri. He's basically a father figure to both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really cool. But yeah, that was so good. And then Ciri loses her
Yes,
GB
she
mind.
does.
because that girl is something
Out
else.
of
So yeah, other characters. Obviously, I love that you love Geralt. 'Cause
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
amazing.
He carries the
but
game.
Anyone else? I would agree. Anyone else that really stood out for you?
Yeah, I have in my notes. Out of the two other Witchers, I think I like Lambert a little bit more.
Lambert's such a dick.
He's a lovable asshole. And I'm
Lambert, what a prick.
and I'm curious if like how much you actually in like previous other medias, like how much do you interact with him, and if
A
like
decent amount. I think he probably gets more character development in this game than other. It's been a while. I'm trying to remember. In the books, he's not that big of a character. I think they kind of flesh him out a little bit more.
Okay.
In the games, the other character that's true with is Triss. She's in the books and is important. Well, you see in the show, she's at the Battle of Sodden Hill and everything, but she's way more fleshed out, particularly in Game 2, because throughout Game 2, Geralt has amnesia and doesn't remember Ciri and Yen and all this stuff. So he's basically just with Yen just with Triss doing other things in that game. So you really, really get her character fleshed out in that. But yeah,
if you don't recruit Kira to help fight, does Lambert die during that fight?
No, he just remains single, I think.
Okay, because there was a point where I think there was a cutscene where Lambert was about to die, then since I had Kira, she saved him. So I was wondering.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he still lives.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure he still lives.
Okay, interesting.
which is good because I love that guy. Um, there was a fan casting for Lambert. They said he should be Nick Kroll,
Okay, I can see that.
which would be really funny.
Yeah, I can see
Which would
that.
be hilarious. Okay,
Uh,
so you said you were a Lambert guy.
yes.
I mean, we got to get into the big waifu question, or waifu. I don't know how you say it.
Waifu.
Triss or Yen?
So this was a really tough decision for me because I
Mhm.
wanted the main point of this game was I wanted to explore Geralt as a character. I
Right.
wanted to learn what made him tick. Um,
Mhm.
and since you're my lore guy, I had already decided like I'm gonna go fairly canon with my playthrough. So I
Mhm.
asked you Triss or Yen, and you
Mhm.
said Yen for Ben. So I went with
Mhm.
yeah. Well, okay. So I think I went for Yennefer. I'll get
Mhm.
to that in a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Um, in terms of both of them, I didn't mind too much. I know she's just kind of a bitch, but I totally seeing the show and like seeing like what her general character was, I get it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I liked Triss. She's definitely like the nice girl.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's a little bit too generic of a nice girl.
Right.
Like I mean, she's all sunflower daisies. I am a quirky
Mm.
girl with
Mhm. Yeah.
wizard powers. But
Yeah, pretty much.
besides that, I didn't really feel like she had very much other defining character traits besides
Mhm.
I am a nice girl that casts magic. I am a bit sassy. I'm
Mm.
just like
Mhm.
very Zoe Deschanel kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, so in that regard, even though I like Triss, I think going with Yen was a lot more interesting.
Yeah. The big divide is if you've only played the games, most people will go with Triss because you spend so much time with her in the second one
Mhm.
and you kind of become attached. If you've read the books, you 100% go Yen because she's a way bigger character in the books, and you see Geralt and her's relationship. Well, you know how they started because that's in the show
Yep.
with the Jin, and he's like, "I want to like be with you forever."
Hmm.
And then when one of the best quests I think in the game is then you go and you reverse that Jin's like curse or wish or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And then you have the moment with Yen that you can say like it meant like the Jin thing was nothing. I just really care about you. Or you can be like, oh, the magic's gone now, like that, which is just wild
Yeah. Hmm.
because how long like those two characters like are together and stuff. They give you like that option and that choice is
Hmm.
just crazy. But
So
that quest is really cool in my opinion.
so
But
courting both of them was kind of weird because like I knew I
well, you
generally
meet Triss first in the game too,
yeah,
which like
and
you can
coming from my perspective, which I really didn't know too much of either characters, I especially didn't know
Mhm.
Triss at all. Um,
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to go Yen kind of more, but I also wanted to see like Triss's personality since I had no inkling of who or what she was all about. So I kind of
Hmm.
courted both of them, and then I realized, oh, I'm courting both of them. Am I gonna get because I know some of the endings for I know the ending where if you try to court both of them, what happens.
That's so funny.
And I have seen the YouTube video. So
Yep,
I'm like,
it's so great.
oh shit, am I gonna get that ending? Because I kind of didn't want that. And then at one point,
Mhm.
I'm like, well, I guess whatever happens happens. Because I was nice to both of them, but other times
Mhm.
I decided against them. So I'm like, I really have no idea who I'm gonna end with. So in that regard, it's kind of
Yeah.
fun.
So there's a couple key splits. When Triss is leaving after you get all the mages out of Novigrad, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you," blah blah blah. And if you say like "I love you," I think there's a quote. I think you have to actually say "I love you." If you say that, she'll stay with you, and then you're like locked in with Triss.
Okay.
So if you don't do that, then you go and do the Yen stuff, and then if you do that like that Jin uh quest line and you remove the curse or whatever, then you can say like, yeah, the magic's gone for me, or you can say like, I still really care. I don't know what the exact words are, but that's a clear split, and then
Mm,
that basically locks you in with her.
mm.
Is I believe how it goes.
I will say one thing that the game has done, which I have noticed that even current gen games don't do, which this was like
Mhm.
another kind of big gripe I have, not just with like open world games, but just a lot of just other games in general. There are several times in the game where you have to follow a character to some destination. And this is a pretty common thing that happens in like MMOs and open world games. Like I know Red Dead
Right.
does this a lot, where you're like riding on horses
Yep.
and conversing to go to a destination.
Mhm.
I fucking love how you can sprint and they sprint ahead
Oh,
of
yeah.
you faster than you,
Yep.
because there's so
Which is
many.
great.
There's like pretty much this is like the only game that I know that has done that, because other games are like, if the person you're following is like just walking, your character
Yeah.
either walks too fast or
Yeah, they don't
can't.
match the pace.
Yeah, or if they're running, then like you can run ahead of them, or like you can't catch up fast enough. This game I thought was amazing that they set their movement speed like slightly always faster than what you can move. Because one,
Yeah.
that's super nice for me, because like I hate just like waiting around for that stuff. And two, if you already know where to go, you don't have to like rush to the destination and like sit there for like a couple minutes waiting for them to like
Yep. Exactly.
I fucking like that was like a godsend. Like I'm putting my hands
Mhm.
together. Like thank you, Lord Jesus, for doing that.
Yeah. Thank you, CD Projekt. You smart Polish.
Yeah,
You
like
smart Polish folks.
I
really
was
appreciate it.
I was very very impressed. That
Yeah, that's a
that
huge
they
little
did that.
quality of life thing. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember, I guess, like, we'll just talk about it now. Actually, no, first, other like side characters you're into. Like I love Dandelion. He's such a little skeevy, little nasty boy. I love him. He's so funny.
My thoughts on Dandelion specifically, I thought he was an okay character. I get that he's definitely just like the comedy relief kind of character, which generally I kind of like
Mhm.
those characters, but I think maybe my I don't want to say distance or off-puttingness of the character. I think maybe it was just being introduced to Dandelion or whatever his name is in the Netflix show. Not that they did,
Oh,
not
yeah.
that not that they
Jaskier, yeah.
not that they detracted from the character very much.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just a weird kind of disconnect for me with Dandelion. I liked him.
Right. Mhm.
I was kind of thinking he would do a little bit more stuff with him, or he'd be like he have like maybe more crazier stuff. But to my discredit, I suppose there probably is quite a bit more in the books than the other games.
Yeah. So him and Geralt spend, as you can see in the show, spend a lot of time together, and it's great. Their shenanigans and Geralt like hating him most of the time, but still really caring for him. It's really
The
funny.
other
Just quite the
character
odd couple.
I really liked, and this was not a character in the show, not a character that I just even knew existed. I fucking loved Roche.
Oh yeah, Roche is great.
Roche is a
So
badass.
he's in the second game.
Mhm.
There's a big split. You can either go with this elvish character, or you can go with Roche, and you spend like basically the whole second act with him.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's great. We love Roche.
Yeah,
Good dude.
my generally my favorite characters in stories and stuff are the characters that that you could look at and say, you know, this character could probably be the main character of his own game,
Oh, yeah.
but he's
Oh,
not.
yeah.
So those
Yeah.
kind of characters I really love, and I think Roche fits that description
For sure.
aptly.
I love that. Yeah, I love. We talked a little bit on the phone, but I love Johnny, the Godling. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
I love him. He's a great side character. I like Zoltan's great. I love him. But then my other favorite is Siggy Rufin, because that quest line is so great. Did you see that one all the way through?
That's Siggy is the spy guy, right? Big fat spy guy.
The ex spy master.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
So
you start in the bath, and then it goes all the way through,
Yes.
and then you end up getting recruited to basically assassinate Radovid,
yeah.
the king of Redania. Yeah. Did you go all the way through and do that one?
I don't think I did. So I did like the character. Like he was definitely the character that is pretty obvious. At least for me as a newcomer, like I had no idea like what he was feeling, so that made like interacting with him a little bit challenging, because I didn't know how
Yeah.
what his character was, personality, how he viewed the world, how he viewed Geralt, his position in the world. So I really didn't know exactly what he wanted. So I wanted him. So in that point, he was the only character that I didn't know what he wanted. So I wasn't sure how to respond to him, which
Yep.
led to a couple of choices that he didn't like. So I think I got up to the point where he asked like, "Hey, do you want to go kill Radovid?" And I think I remember saying, "Yeah, sure," but I don't remember the events that transpired. I didn't. I ended up not killing him. I'm not even sure if you can, but because my ending had Radovid alive,
Ah, okay, interesting.
which I
Yeah,
know.
so you can definitely go through and kill him.
Okay.
And then you can also shit can happen where you end up killing Siggy Reuven too, which is pretty wild.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't want him to die
that part's
because I did look up
yeah.
like what the split was, like what the consequence was. I didn't want him to. I didn't want to kill him, so
Mhm.
I didn't do
Yeah,
either of them. Um.
yeah, nice.
So I saved
Yeah, I
the
want to know what your
endings
ending is.
to
Let's get
you.
to it because there's a bunch of different options in this
Yes.
game. So I'm curious what you got.
Okay. Um. I wrote down like what my endings were. And
Okay,
there's
cool.
some that I'm confused about. So
All right.
I didn't kill Radovid, so he
Okay.
dominated the area and killed a bunch of people deemed as weirdos. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, he
that's not
continues
good.
to be a huge racist asshole. Yes.
That's not good. Whoops, probably should have cut him off pretty early.
Yeah.
The Ciri's dad got assassinated by his own people.
hmm
Okay, so that actually did happen.
Yep. That's a possibility.
Okay, so yeah, like I don't remember what I said to him when I was Geralt after saying like we lost Ciri pretty much, but his ending was like I don't remember exactly what the words they said, but like I think the empire or his empire kind of was in a little bit disarray, and like the people like killed him because he was indecisive or something like that.
They were tired of just like the constant war. Basically. Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
he got killed by his own people.
Mhm.
So Ciri and
So I don't remember in that ending. Is there just a stalemate in the war? Like Redania continues to exist and
oh
Nilfgaard continues to like exist to a point.
Uh, I don't quite remember.
I'm trying to remember how that ending
I
goes.
think Radovid just like took over everything. I think maybe.
Oh, really?
Maybe I don't
Interesting.
remember. Um, so here's the thing that I was totally fucking lost. I was so goddamn confused. Uh,
Okay.
Ciri and Geralt traveled around, and Ciri chose to be a Witcher.
Yes, I love that ending.
Okay, I liked it, but after the
Uh,
events of like Ciri disappearing after that asshole elf guy's like, no, she has to do this, and she like going to a different like
mhm.
ice world. She's like looked like she was not doing too hot, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm just in civilization. Like I was like, what the fuck happened? It didn't explain that to me at all. I was so confused.
You mean the very ending, like how she goes into the big portal thing, basically to like save the world or whatever, and
Yeah,
then they think that she was under the impression that she would have to like sacrifice herself
yeah.
to do
And then
it.
and
Yeah,
then it
that is.
and then it just cuts to her like okay, just like hanging out in the bar.
Oh yeah, I love that ending. I'm so glad you got that one. It's the best
I
one,
was
in my
happy with
opinion.
that
And
too.
I think it's the most true to the character,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So, can you explain what the fuck happened?
Kind of. It's a little.
Is it convoluted?
Yeah.
So, my impression was that she like maybe double crossed that elf guy, which I'll just say I never trusted him. He was always just kind of a dickhead.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
I do like
But yeah, the main thing is when they don't really explain this very well. But after she comes back from like stopping the Great Frost or whatever, she basically doesn't have her powers anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So she kind of like which there's some other like Yen side stuff where it kind of explains it a little bit more, but she can basically like choose to just like not
So she's not
doesn't have like her teleportation powers and
not a
can't go
plane
between worlds
shifter
and all that shit.
anymore.
Yeah, she's just a normal like kind of human person who still has like all of her like fighting skills and everything. But
Okay.
yeah, she doesn't have like magic jumping powers and stuff. And some of it is tied to how she feels at that time. Like if she doesn't like in some of the dialogue options, she doesn't feel like Yen and Geralt are supporting her, or that she feels like alone and stuff, she will actually die when she does it. So some of it is like her state of mind as well.
Okay.
Which is interesting. But yeah, basically when she comes back, she doesn't have her powers. Basically, she's just a person.
Just a regular crazy Witcher.
Yeah, basically just a regular overpowered Witcher. Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, that's generally how it goes. They don't explain that very well. I think they kind of kept it a little ambiguous, and you learn a little bit more about it too in some of the DLCs,
Mm.
which is nice. But yeah, they do, that is a critique that I had previously too. Is they don't exactly tell you how she survives, but yes. And then the other big part is how you end up at the ending with Yen.
Yes. So I did get the I guess I'm gonna call it the storybook ending with Yen.
With Yen,
So I
yeah.
did end up with Yen.
Like they moved to I remember where they moved to.
Yeah, but they're together.
They moved somewhere. Yeah. Good.
So I was a little bit confused because when you meet up with Yen in Skellige for the first time, you can choose to bang Yen.
Yes.
I was under the implication that there was another fucking at the end of the game with whoever you chose too.
There is one with Yen when they have the party in Kaer Morhen before the battle. You remember that? Like where you get drunk with the other Witchers and everything?
That didn't happen for me.
So if you go up to the room with Yen, then there's another, as you said, fucking.
Okay.
But if you don't, you stay down there with the guys and you get hammered and talk to people on her megascope and dress up in her clothes and stuff. It's so great.
Yeah, okay, so I'll go through my mindset going through that scene. Because Yen was like, "All right, don't get drunk." So I'm like, "Okay, whatever." I probably shouldn't because the fate of the world decides in the next 24 hours. So I'm like, "All right, I'll have a couple drinks." I really wanted to get smashed though. I really did, but like,
oh, you have to. It's so good. You have to go back and watch the YouTube.
I'll have
of it.
to.
It's so
But
good.
I like there was the option to go upstairs with Yen, but like in my head, I'm like, fuck you, I want to crack a cold one with the boys. And I was just
I need to leave here with my home with the boys. Exactly.
Which I thought was
so
fucking
great.
hilarious. So like, yeah, I had to do that.
It's very Geralt too, which is hilarious. Yeah, you have to look that up later. It's God, it's so.
Yes,
funny.
I will definitely look that up as soon as it's done.
It's great. Okay, cool. Awesome. So that's kind of good. I'm glad you got those endings. Are you aware of what some of the other endings can be?
I know that if you, my other friend who really likes The Witcher, told me that if you try to be with Yen and Triss at the same time, Geralt is just alone and sad.
Yes.
But like, oh,
that's the ending. Did you know that if you do certain things, Ciri can become Emperor of Nilfgaard?
Oh fuck, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And she basically takes over like everything and is like basically like an all-powerful like tyrant person.
Is she like a benevolent or more malicious ruler?
She's not evil, but she's not great either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she?
That's a crazy ending.
Does she still interact with Geralt, or did they kind of cut ties?
Not a whole lot. Like they're still like kind of pals, but it's not like the same.
Yeah, a Witcher doesn't get
crazy.
involved with politics.
Yeah, that one's wild. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
That's a cool.
So that's
one.
kind of the big, what makes that Radovid quest so interesting. It's like, we don't get involved in politics, but also like this guy is basically trying to kill everybody that I care about. So what do I do?
Yeah, that's probably
poor Geralt is always getting put in these conundrums.
That's probably why I chose not to go with Siggy and to kill Radovid, because I was trying to stick to Geralt and not get involved with politics.
Yeah. But that's basically the crux of his character. He's a guy who just wants to be left alone and do his job and hang out in the wilderness with his horse, but he keeps getting tied into all this shit. And he's like, I'm not going to get involved. And then ends up, just because he's a nice guy and cares, gets super involved. Like,
when you told me that like that was his pathos of Geralt, and the more I play, I'm like, yeah, that was completely right. Like that is Geralt in a nutshell. Like, does not want to get involved with anything, but gets roped into it.
Yeah, he just happens to get involved in all this wild stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. Which his reluctance to do it is part of why it's so funny.
Well, there's some other crazy endings.
Oh yeah, there's it can get nuts.
How many endings
really
are
fun.
there?
I don't know.
Like more than 5?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn, that's impressive.
Especially if you count all the like you can be with Triss or Yen or none, and like how does the thing with Ciri end up, and how does like the war end up, etc. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do. yeah, so that's kind of anything else you wanted to hit. I was just going to kind of tell you what some of the DLCs are. One of them is just this kind of story where you meet this like magic guy, and you have to go to this like wedding like in disguise, which is really fun. And you do like a bunch of talking. And it's very funny. You meet a character from the second one. It's okay. It's a fun one. That one's called Heart of Stone, which is okay. But the last one is called Blood and Wine, which is incredible. I absolutely love that one. So basically, you go to a whole different map. I think you heard in the game they talk about Toussaint a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's like basically like the France of this world. In fact, by the architecture, it's kind of a French and Italian hybrid. It's like this big fancy world. Basically, Geralt like retires there. He's like, I'm just gonna go here and hang out, and I'm done. We saved the world. I'm just chilling. Of course, events conspire. You like have this huge quest with this like master vampire, which is really cool. But it ends up with Geralt buying a like chateau, like a nice fancy house and a bunch of land, and he's going to become a winemaker. and you have to do a bunch of stuff to like get the house up in order. You like make it kind of reminded me of Assassin's Creed 2.
Okay.
How you like build your little villa, similar to that, but you make a bunch of decisions. You like meets this guy who like helps him make the wine and stuff. It's really funny. He has to do all this stuff, and it's great. And then at the end, Ciri, and then if you have a lady, like so it would be Yen, like comes and like lives with you and stuff, and it's really cute. It's really fun. But yeah, basically it's Geralt trying to settle down and start a vineyard.
That's
but
hilarious.
A bunch of shit keeps, but in classical Geralt fashion, it doesn't work out that great, and shit keeps happening, and you have to like do all this stuff. It's hilarious. It's so fun.
Now I know why you really like Geralt.
Yeah, exactly. He loves wine, man, and he tries to make it. And it's so funny. The Blood and Wine expansion is awesome.
I will have
to
it's
probably
play those.
You have to give that one a whirl.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
I also know there was a side quest where Roach gets stuck on a house. I was really wanting to do that one too.
Yes, that happens in that DLC. Yes, exactly.
I'll have to go back and play
Roach.
that. So
I love Roach.
I got 3 other things on my list.
Cool. Yeah, hit me.
That I was not sure of or wanted to bring up.
Okay.
This one kind of irked me. Ciri and her goddamn eyeshadow and her rope bra, and she never pulled her shirt over her shoulder, bugged the crap out of me.
Yeah, she has a weird aesthetic. They make her like.
She always had eyeshadow on, like always.
Did you ever get some of the DLC you get that's free? You get like alternate outfits for most of the characters.
I don't.
Her alternate one is like way better.
Okay.
So that's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, the necessity for the eyeshadows. Yeah, that's one of the like weirder like visual looks in the game that I was like not a huge fan of.
I didn't mind the eyeshadow thing. Just always having an eye, or her just always having eyeshadow. You know, whatever. The rope bra and
like a shoulderless top doesn't seem very usable in the shit that Ciri's doing. Yeah.
So the last 2 I have are questions that a lore person would know.
Okay.
Geralt apparently knew one of the commanders of the Wild Hunt. He said that he rode with them.
Yes.
Was...
should I tell you this? Because it's because the show will definitely.
Okay, then don't tell me. I want to be surprised.
It's not like they were friends. I'll put it that way.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. We'll let that all come out.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that does make it sound like, oh yeah, we used to hang out. No, not like
okay.
That. It's other things happen, but yeah, that's.
So
I won't say anything because I think that'll either be season 2 or season 3.
Okay,
I think it might be season 2.
All right,
if I remember my chronology correctly.
I'm not sure how you pronounce his name because it's been a while since I beat the game. Imleric.
Mm-hmm. The head of the hunt.
Yeah. He said that he likes wine and sex. I thought he looked down on humans, and I thought he wasn't a human.
Yeah, so when that quest where you basically go to their world or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about that more so in the sense of like with his like race or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I forget what they're called. Like I always called them the super elves, but they're like they're like separate like magical.
Yeah.
That's where Avalok is from, and you go there. I thought that quest is wild when you start jumping between all the worlds.
Dude, I had some
like the super cold.
I had some problems with that cold chapter. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that cold one's hard as fuck. Like to get into the area so you don't freeze.
Yeah,
it's really
it was fun. I will admit it was fun. But yeah,
Yeah, it was trippy as hell.
I did enjoy that quest line. It was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Even though I
Did you catch the cyberpunk reference in the game?
there's a cyberpunk reference in that game.
Yes. I forget where it is, but
when they're talking about like futuristic stuff.
Siri's talking about the different worlds that she's
Yes.
been
Okay.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I texted you like, did Siri go to our world for a second? Because she was talking about like
yeah.
metal flying cars or something like that.
Yeah, it's the cyberpunk world.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Which I want to play that game, and I hope she like shows up somewhere, just like in the
or like a
background or
reference
That would be
or something.
so.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
there's some.
that'd be so
There's
amazing.
got to be something.
There has to be.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Which God, I hope they get that shit figured out. But yeah, so that's it. So it's very interesting. You've with the show, you basically start at the very beginning of the story, and then you've played like the end of it essentially, which is really
That's
interesting.
super different. Yeah.
Are you aware of the? I don't know how to pronounce his name. The author of the books, his how would you say it? Not terribly happy with how the games go. Like he didn't have a whole lot or any at all by the end, like influence on like how the story goes.
Okay.
So he was like not super. I think he like let them make the games thinking it wasn't gonna be that big a deal, and they like blew up and kind of became more popular.
Yeah,
than his
you're
books.
telling me a little bit about
And
that.
yeah, so he like wasn't super happy about that. So there's kind of a thing where it's kind of similar to Game of Thrones in the way that how much of the ending was like that's how he wanted it to end, or did they completely go off the rails? Or like, hey, this is how you wanted to get to the end, but would he have gone about it a different way, like that kind of thing?
Are the Witcher books even finished?
Not really. There's the kind of are. It's hard, but so many of them haven't been translated over into English. I don't even think all of them are yet.
Huh.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure because I don't think I finished all of them. But yeah, where the books end and where the game begins, there's some like it doesn't completely like add up. It's not like the books end and then like, oh, this makes sense when the first game comes because it didn't really get planned that way. Like they just kind of happened.
Okay.
So that's it's kind of an interesting thing as well. And then he was definitely not happy with like how they decided to like do a Netflix show and stuff, but like he sold the rights to it, so it's not like
yeah, he can do
super
anything
surprised,
about it
but-
anymore.
yeah. So it's kind of
Interesting.
it's kind of funny in that way.
Huh.
This grumpy old Polish man who's like unhappy that his work is becoming, which is so dumb because the games like have made his books sell like way more.
Yeah.
When the show came out, the books were like out of stock like everywhere.
That's cool. Good for him. Well, I guess.
So I don't know. Yeah, he's being an old grump because he's making a lot of money off the fact that they're becoming more popular. But yeah, after playing the games, did you go back and rewatch any of the show at all?
I did actually. I wanted to see like after I beat the game, I watched a couple like the first 2 episodes of the Netflix show. Again to see like, all right, I have a pretty damn good understanding of Geralt now that I play Witcher 3 all the way through. And I wanted to ask myself the same question: how well does Cavill kind of portray Geralt? And mind you, and me, that this is a much younger Geralt.
Yes,
But
yes.
I think so. Yeah, I did end up watching a couple of the episodes again, but yeah, like it was really good. He did a great job. Mhm.
Yeah, there's interviews of him talking about it because he was a big fan of the books and the games before he got the role, and he was purposely trying to meld just Geralt's voice in the books, and then using like the voice that the voice actor has and trying to kind of meld those two together. Because in the books, obviously just because it's a book, Geralt he's still like kind of gruff and rough around the edges, but he's less like action oriented. He's a little more philosophical because you get to hear his like inner thoughts, and he's a little more just kind of thoughtful and I don't know, erudite than he is in the game. So that was another thing Cavill said he was really trying to get to
That's fair.
the kind of the blend of both, which I think he did a phenomenal job at. Like I was so happy. But nice. So enjoyed the game. Excited for season 2.
Oh yeah, wholeheartedly.
The show.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I would agree, man. I'm really excited for you to see how it all goes. And I think season 2 is going to be great because they won't be doing any more jumping timelines.
Which I actually liked that personally.
No, in looking back on it, I think it was a must because the first 2 books are just a bunch of short stories.
Yeah.
And they're not even that really chronologically in order. And you have to introduce the 3 main characters, Yen, Ciri, and Geralt. If you go through that, just like through like each short story one by one, you would like never get to any like Yen stuff until like way later. So it wouldn't really make any sense. And like showing like how Ciri comes up. So I think they had to do that, in my opinion, just to like make it so you like kind of knew all 3 main characters before they got kind of started on the chronological side of things. I get how it was confusing and some people didn't like it, but I think it was a great choice.
I
They
liked
had to do
it
that,
from
'cause-
a story, an episodic story structure wise. I really enjoyed
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, I think it keeps it interesting too.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I'm just really excited to see how Geralt's, and especially after playing the game, you know how important Geralt's chemistry with Ciri is.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
It's kind of the backbone of the story. I'm really, really curious to see how the 2 actors like play that and how they play off each other. That's like the key part of the game, in my opinion, or of the whole story.
I was gonna ask. Do you think season 2 is gonna like pick up right from the moment season 1 ends, or is there gonna be like a little bit of a time skip, a little bit?
I don't know. They could do it because they've come out and said they are gonna pull some things from some of the other important short stories that they didn't do in season 1, but it'll mainly be chronological. So it could be. It won't be a huge jump
Okay.
if there is one. So it'll be pretty close.
Mostly, I'm wondering like how old will Ciri be, and like will we be watching her do some training? Because I think I would personally would rather already see her be a badass and watching. Because
I bet. Actually, I think I know this. They released a while back, a couple like still photos from set, and it showed her like training in Kaer Morhen.
okay,
So we're gonna get like her and Vesemir doing some Witcher training, which will be
okay.
cool.
Well, I forgot.
Yeah.
So if Vesemir's there, then fuck it, I'm gonna be okay then.
Yeah, because he's the homie.
Right on.
So yeah, like the scenes you see at the very beginning of the game with young
Mhm,
Ciri, like
mhm.
learning how to fight and everything. I think there's gonna be a lot of that in there, which will be
Was
super fun.
Lambert and Eskel there too? During that dream thing at the very beginning?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be
Wow.
really cool. They've released some of the casting. It's been a while since I looked at them, but it looked interesting. I don't think there's anybody I really like knew, but it'll be cool. And I know it's been huge because COVID paused a lot of the filming, and
Calvo got
then
injured.
he got injured. I think they're back up and going now, if I remember correctly. But it's been an absolute shit show. Like I think it was supposed to come out like now-ish,
Yeah.
or maybe it was like fall again. I think it's maybe this fall, and that's probably not happening now with how everything went to hell. But,
Yeah.
uh,
I know for at least the video game industry, this is the year where we're gonna actually feel COVID.
oh god, yeah. There's going to be a lot of delays and everything. It's gonna be
Yeah.
awful.
mhm.
Yeah, man, that's tough. But hey, we're starting to get out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Thankfully.
vaccinations and everything, man. All right, well, if that's all you got, Nick, I have greatly enjoyed talking about this game / franchise with you. I think this was really fun.
So
Us kind of doing things that each other enjoy that haven't done before and talking about things. I think it's a fun little series we got going.
my closing thoughts on Witcher 3.
Yes, closing thoughts.
For a game that I came in knowing practically nothing, playing a genre that I knew I didn't like, and for it being 5 years old of when I was playing it, I
Right.
was expecting something great coming out of the game, and I was not disappointed. I see why everyone
Good.
likes it. I really like it now too, and I will. I guess I'm just now realizing this. If and when they make a Witcher 4, I think I would at least pick up the game to at least play. I might not complete it all the way through on the first time, depending on
Mhm.
how it goes. But in terms of like me wanting to buy anything more Witcher related compared to before I played it,
Right.
I'm totally down for Witcher now.
That's awesome. And I think that what a mark of a game that it's like actively something you don't play and you still end up enjoying. I think that
Oh,
just shows
absolutely.
it's a classic. I think it's got to be considered as like a modern classic, honestly. And
I
will
can agree.
hopefully
I can
be
get behind
considered
that.
that way.
Yeah.
And I think you can already see in a lot of other games now it's been modeled
Mhm,
and used as
mhm.
like a a pedestal for a lot of other games, which I think is awesome. I think it honestly kind of moved the genre forward in a lot of those things that we talked about, which is that's usually a good sign, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks so much for sitting down today and talking to me about Witcher, Nick.
Oh hell yeah! Thank you for holding my hand through this crazy universe.
Hey man, you helped me through Final Fantasy VII, which is a whole other. That's complicated. So I had an easy job. I can't complain at all. Awesome. Well, until next time, guys. I have been Ben. He has been Nick, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Bye bye.